NBA.
Oh, really?
They are the new announcements for the trophies. The MVP trophy will now be the Michael Jordan trophy. There's a bunch of them, Anthony, if you want me to go through them.
Really? The Michael Jordan Most Valuable Player of the Year award?
Then you got the Hakeem Olajuwon Defensive Player of the Year, Wilt Chamberlain Rookie of the Year, John Havlicek Sixth Man of the Year, George Mikan Most Improved, and the Jerry West Clutch Player of the Year is the new award.
How are they going to measure that? Are they going to measure it by like clutch statistics and how they determine that? Because that actually is in the clutch is actually a statistic that they have drawn up based on time and score. So that'll be interesting. I'm glad they're honoring the greatest of all time, MJ, with the MVP award. It's good to remind people that he is the best player to ever do it. And, all you latest is the greatest young folks out there that want to tell me that guy in L.A. is the best player ever. You're out of your damn mind. Purdue moves to number 1 in the AP men's basketball poll, so congratulations to Boiler Ball and to head coach Matt Painter. The Big Ten doesn't appear in the top 25 until number 14, Indiana, after Purdue, and then they get number 18, Illinois, 20, Maryland, 22, Wisconsin, 23, Ohio State. I know it's been a long time. Still feels very weird to say Maryland in the Big Ten. We had Monday Night Football last night, and, the final score in favor of the Patriots. Can't stand Matt Patricia, but they won 27-13 over the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray went down with a non-contact injury to his right knee after scrambling. It was the third snap of the game. He's going to get an MRI on that today. The Patriots lost Ramondre Stevenson and Devontae Parker, both exited with injuries in that ball game. 49ers expect Deebo Samuel with his MCL and ankle sprain to be back at some point in the regular season, which is good news for them. The Cowboys have added veteran wide receiver T.Y. Hilton to their wide receiver corps, so that will probably pipe down any of the OBJ talk. And the Jets expect quarterback Mike White to be okay for the game against the Detroit Lions. We'll step aside. Back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Delicious holiday meals are right around the corner when you shop Meijer. Get Meijer Spiral Sliced Half Ham for 89 cents per pound, limit 2. Meijer canned vegetables like green beans are just 39 cents. And Pillsbury refrigerated baked products are buy 2, get 1 free. Plus, whip up your favorite holiday desserts with low prices on family favorites like Meijer butter, flour, and sugar. Get more for your money with the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Basketball fans can turn a loss into a win with the king of sportsbooks. Hey, this is Matt Shepard. Just place a single first basket scorer prop bet on any NBA game. If your bet loses, you'll receive up to $25 back in free bets. Wager confidently and take your game to the next level with BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA. Just log onto your account or download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Then wager on any player to score the first basket in any NBA game. If your bet misses, you'll get up to $25 back in free bets. Turn game time into showtime with the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. This is a new and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you think you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons.
Dirty oil can easily wreak havoc on your vehicle's engine, so be sure to change the oil at recommended intervals. And for a motor oil that outperforms conventional and synthetic blends, try Mobil 1, the full synthetic motor oil that keeps your engine running like new. Ask for Mobil 1 at your local Auto Value Auto Parts store. And don't forget to pick up a Wix XP oil filter to complete the job. Because when it comes to oil changes, we've got you covered at Auto Value, where service is the difference. We get it.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Do not forget, text the keyword Go Blue, send it to 21,000 to win the trip to the Fiesta Bowl to see Texas Christian take on Michigan, number 2 versus number 3. The trip includes round-trip air on the chartered flight, 3-night stay at a luxurious Scottsdale resort, 2 tickets to the game, breakfast every morning, and, of course, the post-game meal / party there to celebrate the Fiesta Bowl, hopefully a victory. We're going to be selecting the winner at noon tomorrow. Just text the keyword Go Blue, send that to 21,000, Go Blue to 21000. And a big thanks to our partners at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and Soaring Eagle Casino and Sports. And they are just they're fabulous partners. We put together that tailgate earlier with our friends from Blue by 90 with Justin Rowe. That was just that was great. We had a great turnout for that, the Michigan State game, and it's been a good relationship. So we're
nearing
pleased.
9,000.
9,000 entries.
Come on, get us to 10,000 before tomorrow.
I thought I thought we was going to be I thought it'd be closer to like 15 to 20.
Well, I don't think people quite understand the simplicity, and there's literally no there's no hang up, people. You just got to get to the airport, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah, you just literally pack your carry-on and your bag. That's it. You just have somebody drop you off at Detroit Metro. And it's a chartered flight. It's a completely different gig than what you're used to at the airport. I mean, it's pretty great. There's no doubt about it. And they usually serve a meal on these chartered flights as well. Don't quote me on that, but last time we had a meal, and we were only flying to Florida, so a little different than what you're used to from a traveling standpoint. And the other thing is the Go Blue, all one word. Like, we've had a lot of 2-word entries. That doesn't.
Yeah, we got one a little while ago.
Go Blue,
one word. Make sure.
Word. If it's not all one word, you're not going to get that text. I know that iPhones and Androids, it's going to autocorrect it. It autocorrects stuff all the time. Just drop a backspace in there between the Go and the Blue and make sure it's all one word. Could be capitalized, could be lowercase. I like to capitalize the G and capitalize the B. But Go Blue, send it to 21000. It is time now for our NFL Week 14 recap, the fastest couple of minutes in sports history. All right, it all started on Thursday night. Baker Mayfield, 36 hours to prepare. He knew 6 plays, allegedly. And he threw for 230 yards and a touchdown, including a game-winning drive there for the L.A. Rams, who were all actually rooting against because of that draft pick. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. They beat the Raiders 17-16. They've now lost to Baker Mayfield on 6 hours of prep and Jeff Saturday on 6 days on the job. The Raiders, awful. Does anybody fall forward more than Josh McDaniels? Don't really know. He's a good coordinator, not a good coach. The Detroit Lions beat the Minnesota Vikings. Vegas knew they were 2.5-point favorites. They beat the Vikings by 11, 34-23. Jameson Williams got his first touchdown of his young career. Masterful performance from Jared Goff and company. Jared Goff went for 330 and 3 touchdowns. Oh, my goodness. He's 8th in the league right now in passing yards. Can you believe it? Are you serious? The Buffalo Bills beat the New York Jets 20-12. Mike White threw for 268 and ended up in a hospital after the game. It was just precautionary. He should be good to go for Sunday's contest against the Lions. Josh Allen just 16-27 for 147. They ran the ball as a team for 102 yards. What's going on with Buffalo's offense? A reporter asked Josh Allen, well, didn't really ask him, told him, it doesn't look like a Super Bowl caliber offense. To which he replied, okay. The Bengals won the Battle of Ohio 23-10. Congratulations to Joe Burrow beating the Cleveland Browns finally. Joe Mixon had 96 yards on the ground. Jamar Chase had 10 catches for 119 and a score. Deshaun Watson, 276, a touchdown, and a pick for the Browns. The Cowboys eked one out against the Texans. People talking about, why aren't they talking about Dak Prescott? Because you were 48-point favorites against Houston. What's the matter with you? 27-23, your final score. Dallas wins a scary one against the 1-11-1 Houston Texans. The Jacksonville Jaguars went down to Tennessee to go see Bill in Knoxville. They whacked the Titans 36-22. Trevor Lawrence 30 of 42 for 368 and 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry had a $121 on the ground and a score. And look, the Jacksonville Jaguars just dominated the Titans. The Lions just dominated the Jaguars, which means the Lions are a superior franchise to the Tennessee Titans. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the New York Giants because right now when the Giants got to play somebody with a winning record, they're always going to lose. Sorry, New York Scott. Jalen Hurts, 217 and 2 touchdowns for him. That's great. Miles Sanders had 144 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving. Eagles win 48-22. A battle in the AFC North between the Ravens and the Steelers. Baltimore wins on the road in Blitzburg, 16-14. Woof. J.K. Dobbins had 15 carries for a $120 and a score, though, so that's always positive. And the former Toledo Rocket, Deontay Johnson, UT, 6 catches, 82 yards. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Denver Broncos 34-28. Denver is just god-awful. They're 3-10. Patty Mahomes went for 3 touchdowns and 352 yards. And you know what's interesting? We haven't heard from his wife or his little brother. You want to know why? Because he told us, shut your mouth. I'm trying to play football. No one even care about you people. If it wasn't for me throwing touchdowns winning Super Bowls. No more of this social media TikTok crap. Pipe down. And they pipe down, and he's piping them up. 10-3 are the Kansas City Chiefs. The San Francisco 49ers dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the tune of 35-7. Christian McCaffrey, 14 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. But this is all about Brock Purdy, a.k.a. Mr. Irrelevant. 16 of 21 for 185 and 2 touchdowns. A better quarterback than Zach Wilson. That was a waste of a pick in New York. Oh, my God, can you believe that? Brock Purdy, the last pick of the draft. Good for him. See what happens when you draft a real quarterback and you draft him late. The Carolina Panthers 30-24 winners over the Seattle Seahawks. What is going on with Seattle? They just put together that awesome compilation video of Geno Smith, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game, but they lost to the Carolina Panthers. Are you kidding me? Are the Panthers starting to pick it up as they put on the full court press for the NFC South? They're 5-6 on the year. They win the game 30-24. Sam Darnold, 14 of 24 for 120 and 1 touchdown. Who would have thought that Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield will start on the same team to begin the year, and then they would both win a game in the same week? Obviously, Baker with the Rams now that he's gone, and Sam Darnold with the Panthers. Holy mackerel. The LA Chargers, how about Bellino's Bolts, baby? 23-17 winners over the Miami Dolphins. Justin Herbert, really good at football, 39-51. They got to find some semblance of a run game right now. Austin Eckler trying to do his thing. He had 15 carries, but only 45 yards. He did have a touchdown. Like Williams on my bench, he had 6 catches for 116 and a touchdown. That's great. Why don't you do that when I start you? Herbert, 367 to score. Like I said, good at football. Patriots, 27-13 winners over the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals lose Kyler Murray for God knows how long. MRI today. We'll probably have more news on that tomorrow. It didn't look good. Third play of the game, non-contact injury to the right knee. Colt McCoy tried to lead him back. Shout out to Colt McCoy. He's starting, he's not starting, he's starting, he's not starting. DeAndre Hopkins made a great catch last night that didn't count, but it would have been awesome in the back of the end zone. Mac Jones, Mac Jones, 24-35, no touchdowns, threw a pick. New England stinks, but somehow they're 7-6, and they beat us 29-0. I'll never forgive that game. Bye week this week. Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, and the Commandos. Hey, by the way, next week in the NFL, I believe that was our final week of buys. Everybody's in action this coming week in Week 15, which is glorious, which will start Thursday Night Football, the Niners, the Seahawks, Prime Video.
And a full Saturday slate of 3 games.
Full Saturday. Full send.
Dolphins, Bills being prime time.
It's big time. And all those games are on NFL Network. So shout out to the NFL for getting their cash. And there it is. Your NFL Week 14 recap. I'm not going to lie. Kind of exhausted. All right, folks, don't forget, it's not just the NFL. It's the NBA as well. And new customers over at DraftKings, how about this offer? $5 pregame money line. Any NBA team to win if your team does. Or I should say, when they do, you get $150 in free bets instantly. I like the Philadelphia 76ers tonight against Sacramento at 7 o'clock. Check that one out. Phoenix on the road against Houston. They got to put their head out of their rears. New Orleans on the road at Utah. And the Lakers and the Celtics. I'm taking the Celtics. East-West travel. I don't care. Download the DraftKings app right now. Use promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline. 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Eligibility and deposit restrictions to apply. Bonus issued is free bets. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/basketball terms. Let's talk to the Sultan specialist of NIL. Luke Fedlam joins us next. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Basketball fans can turn a loss into a win with the king of sportsbooks. Hey, this is Matt Shepard. Just place a single first basket score or prop bet on any NBA game. If your bet loses, you'll receive up to $25 back in free bets. Wager confidently and take your game to the next level with BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA. Just log onto your account or download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Then wager on any player to score the first basket in any NBA game. If your bet misses, you'll get up to $25 back in free bets. Turn game time into showtime with the king of sportsbooks. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. This is a new and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you think you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons.
Delicious holiday meals are right around the corner when you shop Meijer. Get Meijer Spiral Sliced Half Ham for 89 cents per pound, limit 2. Meijer canned vegetables like green beans are just 39 cents. And Pillsbury refrigerated baked products are buy 2, get 1 free. Plus, whip up your favorite holiday desserts with low prices on family favorites like Meijer butter, flour, and sugar. Get more for your money with the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle and filling your sleigh with $100,000. Come out for reindeer games every Friday in December from 6 to 10 p.m. Each hour, 2 players have the chance to pick a lucky reindeer and win up to $100,000 cash. Don't miss your chance at huge holiday winnings. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well. From Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, we say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. Appreciate you. And, of course, encourage you to join the program. Dan, any words from Luke?
Yes, he is. He's on the line.
Oh, great. Well, let's get right to it. We're going to shift gears a little bit and hop into the discussion of we're going to go to a place that we don't really know a whole lot about. So let's learn about it a little bit with Luke Fedlin, who joined the program right now. Luke, good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Luke is an NIL expert, a non-agent sports attorney, managing partner at Advance NIL, partner and chair of the sports law practice at Porter Wright Law Firm, and the author of Sports Law, a practical guide to protecting the interests of athletes. You can find him on Twitter at Luke Fedlin. Luke, my friend, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to join us. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm glad that we can finally, have some time to kind of understand exactly what we think we're reading and what we think we are seeing with name, image, and likeness. When this first came out, I think a lot of us assumed that, hey, NIL is going to pass. Kids are going to be able to run camps. They're going to be able to sell T-shirts or do all these little things that the NCAA would shun if they collected any money from. And then we ran into Texas A&M, and we have a lot of questions about what's going on down there. So what, in theory here, what do you see as what NIL should be, and then what do you believe that it is right now?
Well, everyone came into name, image, and likeness believing that it was going to be exactly what we thought, right? This idea of student athletes being able to license or lend their name, their image, their likeness to a third party and receive compensation, to run camps and clinics like you mentioned, to be able to maybe have a T-shirt with their face on it and be able to make money off of it, or a jersey with their name on it and make money off of it. And those things are happening. Let's be very clear. Those things are happening across the country with thousands of student athletes. But what we're seeing when we look at the headlines and look at some of the big programs is that name, image, and likeness is in some ways just being used as a cover for pay to play. And what it really has come down to is when we have coaches talking about student athletes to be able to keep their roster intact, they need X number of millions of dollars, or student athletes now because of the transfer portal can also transfer. Now, there's a lot that's gone into name, image, and likeness that was not originally contemplated.
Luke, as we try to get a grasp on this as fans of college athletics, I mean, do we like the oversight committee here from the NCAA? How would you, if let's say you were like the director, if there was like a committee to put some rules in place as to how NIL should function so that it is not just pay for play, how would you approach that?
Well, it's really hard because at this point there has not been any ability to really say what is fair market value. So if you have a student athlete right now, all you have to have for a name, image, and likeness deal is mutual obligations, which basically means the student athlete has to do something, and for that something that they do, sign autographs, make appearances, post on social media, they can receive compensation. But there's no limitations to say that one tweet is worth $1,000, $100, or $1 million. And that's what really a lot of this challenge is. There has to be at some point some determination of what fair market value is for the work or the services that a student athlete provides. So trying to set some parameters around that, you can't really put in necessarily limitations because oftentimes fair market value is whatever the market would say it is. But having some type of limitations on what is considered normal and fair, I think that's at least the first place to start with all this.
What exactly is, I've seen this term, Luke, a couple of times. What is an NIL collective, and how do those work?
So NIL collectives, and you say you've seen the term a couple times. It's interesting because a year and a half ago, the term didn't even exist. So it was a creation out of name, image, and likeness. And what it is, it's an organization, a separate entity distinct from the school or the institution that is usually made up of donors, alumni, or fans of that particular institution for the sole purpose of raising funds and getting name, image, and likeness deals to student athletes. Now, we've heard a lot about NIL collectives over the last year or so as people have realized, well, that's an easy way then to get big dollar deals to student athletes. If I'm a donor and I want, or an alum, and I want my institution to get the best recruiting class or to get that one 5-star prospect that we want, then that's a way for me to go in, pull some funds together with some other people to be able to put together deals for specific student athletes at that particular institution.
It does make me think of our friends Jared Wangler and Justin Rowe over at Valiant, which is I don't even know, I guess an NIL collective because they are separate from the University of Michigan. But Wangler being a former Michigan football player, Justin Rowe heavily connected at U of M, and they kind of work in that space, operating of kind of orchestrating these different deals for these student athletes. So I wonder if that's kind of in the same mold. That's a question I'll have to ask to them, as I tried, as just like any other fan, try to learn and understand exactly what we're seeing, because there were no parameters, there were no guidelines. It was like the NCAA just kind of said, here, NIL's fine. We're not going to take the lawsuit. You guys figure it out. And it's like, well, we're not, as somebody like a position of power, we're not exactly supposed to just have, like the Wild West out here, but it is what it is.
Right.
How do we figure out what is quote unquote fair? The term fair, we can go a million different directions with this, right? Life ain't fair. It's never going to be fair. Kids, get it out of your mind. Just drop that word from your vocabulary. But we know football is the engine that drives athletic departments. Men's basketball is right there as well. For a lot of institutions across the country, those are the programs that they allow the athletic departments to even have a budget in the first place. So what about that term fairness, and how do we kind of disperse some of this money to where we have Title IX from a scholarship standpoint, but when it comes down to the open market, that's not going to exist?
Right, and that is a challenge, because you're absolutely right. Because it's a separate entity, it's not the institution. Title IX doesn't necessarily apply. One thing, though, that I do think we will see is that over time, I do think the market will correct itself. Hey, that when we look at it, when people have the opportunity to initially get involved and being able to put money in the hands of student athletes, that for 70-plus years of NCAA history, they weren't able to do that, to then all of a sudden they can, I think we saw just a rush into the marketplace. But when you're talking about some of those really big deals, this season, when we go into this upcoming off season, I think a lot of donors, a lot of people who put money into big dollar, numbers into some athletes that did not get a return on their investment, I think the market over time will correct itself to find something that is more in line with norms. Maybe we won't say fair, because I agree that is a tough word to have. So maybe it's more in line with norms that we have when if somebody puts in $1 million towards a student athlete and that school just still has a 5-7 record, I don't know if they're going to be that willing to put another $1 million in down the road.
Now, that's very interesting, because we have seen, we have National Signing Day coming up. The early signing period has already taken place, but early signings and affecting NIL opportunities for student athletes versus like signing day, and this is the great unknown, right? I could draft a quarterback into the NFL, or I could maybe pay a guy like Lamar Jackson, for example. I have a known commodity in Lamar Jackson. I know what I'm going to get out of him. If I draft a quarterback, I have no idea. And the NFL and organizations got burned multiple times. Think Sam Bradford. That was the end of that. Now they go with slotted deals depending on where you're picked at. People are getting burned. They are going to get burned. This is going to happen. I'm going to throw out a massive NIL deal for some kid to go wear my T-shirts, and he is going to be a bust. There's no way around it. Not everybody's going to be good. How does NIL affect the high school kids coming in?
So, interestingly, the NCAA is trying to step in there. So about 2 months ago, they came out with some updated guidance that really brought in NIL collectives under the rules of boosters. And because of that, basically we're explicit in saying that NIL collectives cannot use the promise of a deal as to influence or to recruit a high school or prospective student athlete to a particular institution. The inducements is the biggest challenge that's just driving coaches, athletic directors, conferences nuts, because that's what is causing some of the craziness in the market right now, if you will. So I think over time we're going to see that collectives aren't going to be able to play that role. But here's the thing. Let's just be honest. Can I be honest on the show for a second?
Absolutely. It's the most fair and honest show in America right here, Luke. I mean, kick it to us straight. What do you got?
Listen, we know that people cheated in college football before name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
So this idea that because of name, image, and likeness, all of a sudden everything is going to be fair and equitable and we're going to have the perfect solution, there's no way. Some people say that just like the NFL stands for not for long, that name, image, and likeness stands for now it's legal. And that's where I think we're going to continue to have challenges when we look at recruiting and inducements.
NFL stands for not for long, NIL, now it's legal. Bing bong. Oh, I love that right there, Luke. I love that. It's incredible. So I guess one thing that I've asked a lot about the NIL space, right? Because this is just completely out of control. I happen to have a brown paper bag sitting next to me. Now there is nothing in it but dust. But if there was something in it, right? Why don't we have these massive TV deals with all of these different conferences. How come we can't get everybody together and organize college athletics, especially college football, in a way, shape, and form that the NFL has shown us that will work forever? Now, whether we sign a collective bargaining agreement instead of dividing the pie into two, the actual team itself, so the organization, I'll just use, for example, the University of Michigan football program, and then the University of Michigan football players, they'll probably, the university's going to want a cut of that because, you know how those academics are. Ugh. Anywho, we're not here for that. I'm not here to play any school, in the words of Carl. I'm here to talk about sports. Why don't we just sign a CBA and be done with it and have the players be, we set a salary cap. This is what you can spend. Do whatever you want.
I do think that we're going to get to a point for revenue share. And whether we get to full unionization under collective bargaining or not, I do think that we're going to be moving for certain probably within the next 5 years of student athletes being able to receive a share of the revenue driven by, in particular, college football. And whether that's all student athletes or not is yet to be seen, because in some regards, the National Labor Relations Board, which is the it's the organization that certifies unions, if you will, nationally. They're the ones when Northwestern football wanted to unionize back in 2015. They go through that process. The general counsel, the head lawyer for that organization, wrote a memo last year that said that certain student athletes, talking about football and men's and women's basketball, should be able to unionize and should be able to come together and collectively bargain for their rights. Now, I think that at some point we're going to move to this place where, number one, we are going to see revenue share. I just think the numbers are too big. And when we saw the way in which the NCAA lost at the Supreme Court level on education-related benefits last year in NCAA versus Alston, you know for a fact, just based on the money that's involved, that they would lose on a lawsuit or legal challenge when you have $7.5 billion coming in based on really the product of football and the players not being able to participate. And I think that's why Kevin Warren started having some of those conversations with student athletes, because it's much easier to come up with a plan to avoid lawsuit than to get stuck in a lawsuit and then be stuck with the outcome that comes with it.
God favors the prepared or something like that, right? I mean, Kevin Warren, I like Kevin Warren. I mean, a lot of people, they went after him early because of the whole COVID thing, and he has found a way to navigate. He survived that and then came out strong, swinging for USC and UCLA, and it's, all things are, he could smile. He could sit back and rest a little bit and smile a little bit because he's doing really well for the Big Ten Conference as a whole. Now, you recently, you have a book, Sports Law, A Practical Guide to Protecting the Interests of Athletes. What inspired you to write this book? And in your field, as much as I want to be able to trust everybody, we know that there are people that are more interested in their percentage, their cut, than the overall actual benefit and protecting the student athlete.
Wait, are you telling me that people in the sports world are sometimes out for themselves? Get out of here. That is breaking news right there.
That's what I heard. I can't confirm, but I've heard stories, Luke.
Well, listen, I wrote the book because ultimately I have the benefit on the legal side of working with athletes across all sports, NFL, NBA, hockey, baseball, soccer, and I see firsthand. I'm not an agent, so I am just a lawyer. I'm like a general counsel, head lawyer for individual professional athletes, and I've seen how athletes are so hyper-focused on their sport as they come through, whether they're coming through AAU or these days coming through 7v7 football and working their way through these big programs and onto the professional leagues, that people a lot of times are just out for themselves. And I, as a lawyer focusing just on the individual athlete, want to also make sure that I am equipping other lawyers who have the opportunity to work with athletes to make sure that they're doing the things necessary to protect athletes so that they can have a long-term positive effect on themselves, their families, and their communities.
You know, that ESPN special 30 for 30 came out, and I know a lot of people joked about what took place and, stuff. And I think that actually once you start to sit back and look at, I forget the NHL player that was doing this, but he was breaking down, here's your salary, here's what you're paying in taxes, here's what you're paying for your agent, here's what you're paying for this, that, and the third, here's what you're actually going to ballpark figure go home with. And you think about guys that have been basically swindled by crooks. And to be able to have a trusted accountant, to be able to have a trusted, as you mentioned, general counsel, someone with a law degree and a background in it that can help you navigate what is good, what is bad, what needs to be done. I think it's so invaluable for the athletes so that they are not taken advantage of, because the minute a professional athlete, when they go pro and that signing bonus comes out and that salary comes out, so do like 15 different cousins. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't even know who you are.
Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely. They come out the woodwork. But the funny thing is, especially in some sports like football at the high school level, basketball down to the middle school level, that's where those cousins start coming out, because we're able to identify talent earlier and earlier, and people want to hitch their, wagon to different, players along the way as early as possible. And we need to make sure that athletes are also protected, because they're young people. They're human beings who are trying to navigate a love for their sport with now the business side that oftentimes most people don't prepare them for.
Last one here for you. What was your favorite chapter to write about in your book, and why?
So without question, it was, well, I'll tell you this. I wrote the chapter on name, image, and likeness knowing that immediately once it went to press, it was going to be outdated. So that chapter is going to be updated in a new version here pretty soon. But my favorite chapter to write was on decision-making. I do a lot of engagements with pro teams and with college athletic departments on decision-making, because we teach and train, especially our elite athletes, to make split-second decisions in their sport, but we don't teach them how to slow that decision-making process down for the life decisions that they then need to make, that oftentimes they're doing for the first time. If you ask a basketball player, hey, how many pick and rolls have you guarded in your life, including practice and games, they could say tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. But how many times have you made the decision about picking an agent, or making a decision about, do I want to, get involved with, leaving school early or something along those lines? So we need to teach them how to have a decision-making process. And in that chapter, I go into how you can do that and what that process looks like, and align it right back to how they make decisions in their sport as well.
He is Luke Fedlam. You can find him on Twitter at Luke Fedlam. And folks, this is why I say it's the most fair and honest show in the country. He's a Buckeye. I mean, come on. I got the winged helmet sitting right here on my desk. I got C-Web's jersey behind me, Luke, and look at us. We had a great conversation.
That's
I can't
right.
thank you enough for taking the time to hop on with us this morning and help kind of explain and navigate these waters with us. Would love to have you back in the future.
Hey, thanks so much. Looking forward to it for sure. Have a great day, guys.
You as well. That's Luke Fedlam. Find him on Twitter at Luke Fedlam, Fedlam. And he is a Buckeye. That's Danny Cahalan and Ryan Elke. I'm Anthony Bellino. So long. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from X's and Bros, and we at the Michigan Sports Network, in partnership with Eagle Casino and Sports, the Alumni Association of the University of Michigan, and Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort are sending you on the Maize and Blue trip of a lifetime. Our Fiesta Bowl giveaway includes round-trip airfare for two, a 3-night stay at the Andaz Scottsdale Resort, access to all Alumni Association events with transfers, 2 tickets to the Fiesta Bowl featuring number 2 Michigan against number 3 TCU, and a post-game meal to follow. Make this New Year's a New Year's to remember. To enter, simply text the keyword GOBLUE to 21,000. That's GOBLUE to 21000. Must be 21 years of age or older to enter. 1 entry per number. Winner selected on Wednesday, December 14th at noon Eastern. For full details and information, visit MichiganSportsNetwork.com. Text the keyword GOBLUE to 21,000. And we'll see you on New Year's Eve in the desert.
Basketball fans can turn a loss into a win with the king of sportsbooks. Hey, this is Matt Shepard. Just place a single first basket scorer prop bet on any NBA game. If your bet loses, you'll receive up to $25 back in free bets.